This is why backyard tilapia fish farmers finds it difficult to produce enough fish so as to help to finance their way through. All right, so let me explain. Today I'm talking about productivity between commercial tilapia fish farming and backyard or small scale tilapia fish farming. All right, so commercial tilapia fish farming in Jamaica has been in existence from as early as the 1970s, right? As shared in one of my past videos, commercial tilapia fish farming was seen as being controlled by large players within the market. The thrust by the governments to encourage individuals to consume tilapia, and for those who are producing to produce even more tilapia has been on the rise, and as a result there have been more uptick in sales and in persons becoming interested in tilapia farming. All right, but the productivity between backyard tilapia fish farming and commercial tilapia fish farming will never be equated to be the same. Now, you have a commercial grade structured tilapia fish farm, right, setup, right? The tilapia commercial fish farm, now it is structured in such a way that you have a nursery, you have a broodstock, and you have several grow outs. You have more grow outs than broodstock. In the broodstock alone, you will have roughly about between 5,000 to 8,000 fish within that space. So it is far less than the grow out. The grow out will have an average between 10, 15, and in some cases, depending on how big the pond is, it can even reach as much as 20,000 fingerlings starting out within that space. It doesn't equate, however, that you're going to have 10, 15, 20,000 fish being harvested during harvest time. This as a result of pilfering, as a result of death, as a result of predation, and other factors. However, the harvest rate of that 15, 10, or 20,000 roughly stands at between 85 to 90%. So an expectation of 15% loss, that's in no way a loss, because the economics of scale will determine that you're going to be making back that from the 85% that you currently harvest, right? Now, a tilapia fish pond is normally between 3.5 to 4 feet deep, right? It's normally made out of clay. That's the best type of tilapia commercial fish farm, right? It's made out of clay, and the clay is laid in excavated space, and the clay is roughly 12 inches in thickness from the normal soil. So you would purchase clay, and clay is not cheap, right? Now, clay is different from the normal soil. It's different from the water that you see within a water hole, in which I'm going to have another video which explains all of that. All right, so the commercial fish farmer setup is unique, and it is set up so as to engineer productivity, right? Millions of dollars is spent so as to ensure that productivity is at its highest, right? So you have a nursery where in which you have, and this is just the average, right, guys? You have a nursery where in which each container and holding fries that have been collected is between 10 to 15,000 fries, and in some cases even 20,000 fries exist within the space, right? And you have an average between 15 to probably 20 of these containers situated in one space. So if you should count all the fries, you'll have a massive amount of fries that is collected, right? And these containers are replenished every single day, right? So you have 20 days which is lined up, and each container is is numbered 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So the first container with fries that is filled, right, will be will be harvested and taken to a large pond for grow out, and the process continue, right, guys? Now the fries are monosex so as to prevent choking, right? When I say choking, I mean excessive breeding within the pond, which help to prevent the fish from growing, and it also it stifles the economic what I call it, economic line in which the commercial fish farmer must achieve so as to ensure that productivity equates with expense, right? And exceed expense, should I say, so thus encouraging revenue, and the revenue must be of such that it encourages growth, right? All right, so a commercial fish farmer will consider all of this, right? A commercial fish farmer has extensive knowledge as to how much fish holds within a single space within the nursery, and he can use different mechanism so as to calculate how many fries, right? The fries are not individually count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, right? And then now the fries are collected and placed within the grow out pond, and sometimes, not all the times, they are shifted around. So they might be in grow out pond number 6, right? And halfway through their grow out, they may be moved to grow out pond number 10. And the reason for that is that grow out pond number 6 might be 1 acre tilapia fish pond, but the volume of fish that exists within that 1 acre tilapia fish pond is greater than the pond itself can manage. So they will remove all the fish from that grow out and place it probably in a 4 acre tilapia fish pond, which is 4 times the size in which they are originally coming from. What that does, that encourages the fish to grow quickly, healthy, and able to harvest, and the fish farmer, the commercial fish farmer, is able to see that line wherein it passes. This line represents expense, right? And above that represents revenue. So the budget is listed as to how much should be spent for the month, and how much is earned, and how much is saved, how much is invested, how much is reinvested. Because you have investment in the business and you have investment outside of the business, so as to ensure that your economics of scale continues to match up. Should in case anything happen, you can use the investment out of the business so as to prop up any little situation that might come above, right? All right, so the commercial fish farmer, they are heavily vested in finding quality tilapia seeds, right? And seeds refers to the quality fish that you have. For example, you might have red tilapia, and you might have Rocky Mountain White, right? Rocky Mountain White, I sampled that already, and I share with you that Rocky Mountain White is a very excellent tilapia, and it's more fleshy than, to me, it's more fleshy than the red Nile tilapia, the red tilapia. But the thing is that the market do not fancy fish that is not red, right? So therefore you find that although the Rocky Mountain White have more flesh in it, and it's very large and it's very nice, right, very good, right, the persons, if offered both the Rocky Mountain White and the red tilapia, they would prefer to consume the red tilapia, right? Okay, so all of these dynamics exist within a commercial fish farmer, right? So the commercial fish farmer now strategize, and he consider selling his product, selling his fish stock to in a wholesale manner to persons wishing to purchase so as to retail to individuals out there in the market. And he also consider food processing, right? Selling his fish into a food processor. Probably them use the fish to make fish fillet or do something with it that is unique, right? So he considers all these impossibility in earning something that is considered as beyond that line, right? Because you're looking at beyond that line. This line represents expense. All of this coming up, expense. Everything up here, revenue. So this is what the commercial fish farmer has to achieve, right? So he thinks about that, and then whatever is left, he makes available to the normal retail individual who come by the farm to purchase fish for his or her household fish fry or 9 night or something. But it's not on that great scale as the wholesale market that will come and purchase like probably 800 pound or 2,000 pound of tilapia fish, whether it be live weight or dead weight. And I spoke about that already, right, guys? So we're talking about production, right? So the production cost is heavy on the commercial side. It is not something that you consider lightly, because, for example, a light bill might range between $1 million to $2 million each month, right? As you know, right, when you heavily stock a tilapia pond, right, if aeration is not readily available to that pond, the fish will suffocate and the fish will die, right? So you're going to have to aerate the pond. So it's going to cost money for the electricity, right? Now, unlike a backyard tilapia fish farmer who has a bucket filter or a RAS system, right? I would say that that commercial farmers cannot afford a RAS system. So why a backyard tilapia fish farmer should include that within their system, because a RAS system burns a lot of current. It's a lot of machinery happening, pumps set up and all that to draw and to push the fish waste into a particular filtering process, right? And that's kind of expensive. So the commercial fish farmer in Jamaica, they depend on natural water surface agitation, and also probably what you refer to as not probably, for a fact I know, what you call paddle reels, right? Now, I shared in videos before that I discovered, well, it's nothing new, but I discovered for myself that during the day the water is warm, and warm water mixed with surface water agitation by wind, right, increase the amount of dissolved oxygen within the water space. So as a result of that, during the day, I do not need to agitate the water with any air stones or any filtration mechanism. The situation becomes serious when the water starts to cool down, like when the sun is going down and the water is getting cold. At that point in time, there's less oxygen within the water space, and it becomes even more complicated when the water is filled, well, when the space is filled with large tilapia, very large tilapia, which heavily depend on continuous aeration, right? And this is where the depth of the pond comes into focus, right? Having your pond deep can facilitate hundreds of fish, right? However, having a pond too deep, what it does, it creates a space, a lull space between the surface of the pond and probably about 1 foot or 1.5 foot, where in which is like a dead zone in which the fish can't really go that space, because there is little or no oxygen available there, right? So I always advise my clients that, listen, I do not advise you to go beyond 3 feet, 3.5 feet in depth, right? You can go as much wide as possible, but stick within that space. And that's the reason why I disagree with individuals who will cut off the top of the 55-gallon drum and place the tilapia in it. The tilapia will not go halfway down, and if that is the issue, that means you won't have any tilapia breeding, because they have to make a nest at the surface of the pond so as to breed, right? I've gone through so much and I've not yet touched backdoor harvesting and production. All right, so the commercial fish farmer, they pay in taxes, employ individuals to work, and they themselves are into the whole investment process. So therefore, the money is invested, reinvested, and to a great extent, the society benefit through taxes, right? Okay, so oh yeah, and employment. All right, so let's look at production for the backyard tilapia fish farmer. Now, the backyard tilapia fish farmer, I have spoken to several backyard tilapia fish farmer, and the problem that they have, and I think this mirrors what most tilapia fish farmers do have. I've seen where in which a channel from Jamaica is avidly or should I say actively involved in tilapia fish farming, right? Large pond, probably about 1 acre, 2 acre tilapia fish pond, right? However, the way in which the pond is being managed, right? I disagree. See, small tilapia fish farmers, they lack the space in which they need so as to manage the fish in which they have, right? Let's look at commercial fish farming for a bit. On a commercial fish farm, you would have a 1 acre or 2 acre tilapia fish pond with broodstock, and the broodstock amount is far less than the go out, right? Or the one that is ready for harvesting, right? On a backyard tilapia fish farm, right, everything actually goes within the same space. So what that does, that create a sense of over time you might run out of fish totally. You don't have any fish to sell, right? Which is bad for business. Now, I've never heard of any commercial tilapia fish farmer running out of fish because there's just no fish within the space, right? Now, I practice the whole idea of breeding and keeping and trading only tilapia fingerlings, and the reason for that is because I consider myself reasonable in the sense that I supply you, the individuals who wish for tilapia fingerlings, with fingerlings, and if possible, I probably purchase from you if I do choose, and I consume the fish when they do get big if they are not sold, right? I do not gatekeep my fish stock, because my fish stock, I can't consume everything and I can't keep everything. I mean, I remember once I had harvested nearly 1,000 tilapia fries, right? And the thing in my head was, how is it that I'm gonna get these fish to go out? So what I had to do so as to get those fish to be safely nurtured up into fingerlings and divide that stock in in some amount of numbers and create what you call a juvenile broodstock, I had to actually consume my entire broodstock that was providing these fries, right? And I had to start over, and for nearly 6 months I never had any fries whatsoever. Right? Now, backyard tilapia fish farmers, they should learn from the commercial tilapia fish farmer, right? They should have spaces for each grouping of tilapia fish that exists out there. You cannot have one pond with everything swimming in it. It makes no sense. This is not productivity. This is stupidity, and you need to take stock of what is going on. Now, this is it. Now, if you have both the broodstock and the grow out and the fries and the fingerlings within one single space, what is going to happen is that you're going to have stunted growth, predation, and the fish is going to get sick, because when the fish continuously consume the same type of fish, if you never know, they become ill. And when they become ill, it shows and you are unable to consume it. Right? Now, if you're growing your fish stock with the intention for sale out there as a small tilapia fish farmer, you will never reach that threshold where in which you'll be able to pass the line, and this line is a line of expense, and achieve some amount of revenue as a result of your production style. It is sensible for you to have several different spaces, even if you just start with 3 spaces. So you have the 3 spaces, but you have one set of fish. That's excellent. And so what that does is that it prepares you for the journey ahead. And so you would have a large space for grow out, a space that is not as large as the first stage for broodstock growth, right? And a third space for babies when they are born. However, I said you start out with 3, right? After a while, probably about 6 or 7 months, you're going to need at least another space. And this space is for what you refer to as fingerling, grown fingerlings. So you will have a space for grow out. These fish are what you're going to be selling. And then you have another space for broodstock. These fish are going to produce babies, and these babies are going to be kept in the other space, which is a third space. And it is expected that the broodstock over in the second space will eventually continues to breed, and you're going to be strategizing now. You're going to be growing the fingerlings, right? And you're going to be getting babies, so you're going to need somewhere to put the babies. You can't put the babies where the fingerlings are at, so you would put the babies in a separate space by itself. And sometimes you might even need another set of spaces, because tilapia growth rate can be invariably different, although all of the tilapia fingerlings have been harvested at the same time. And so you might have 12 tilapia within one space, and of the 12 tilapia, you have 6 or 7 of them measuring 10 inches, while you have, and this is just on the high end, right? While you have the remaining measuring between 4 and 5 inches. Now, in coming up, you're going to have to separate the larger ones from the smaller ones as a backyard tilapia fish farmer. On the large farm, this is not an issue, because the commercial fish farmer, what he does, he releases 10 to 15,000 tilapia fingerlings within a given space, right? Whether or not they grow large or small, they are all harvested at the same time, right? Now, the person who is harvesting them, they will do what they refer to as quality check. So the fish that is not up to par, they will be tossed out, whether be tossed out into a different pond for grow out, or they will be tossed out completely out of the production line. So these fish end up in the gutters and the drains, right? So this is how it is done. So as a backyard tilapia fish farmer, so as to ensure that you have maximum growth potential and you're not wasting your time, right? You need to strategize so as to end up with a good production line, and not only good production line, but good quality production line, because you can harvest 10,000 tilapia, right? And of the 10,000 tilapia, you might find that 7,000 are of good quality, while the other 3,000 are not, right? And there's different measuring stick that determines the quality of tilapia that you harvest. For example, you would look at the growth, you look at the health, you look at the whole idea as to whether or not the fish looks attractive for the buyer to actually consume, right? Yes, you look at that, because some persons will not purchase fish that looks ugly. So you now will have to determine if you're going to be tossing out that fish because of how it looks, or you're going to be selling that fish to a wholesale group or to the processing plant. You know, when they're processing fish, they de-skin the fish, they take off the flesh and all that, so you don't really see the fish when you purchase the fish as fillet or, you know, burger or whatever. You don't see the ugly fish, right? But for those customers that love to look at the fish to see whether or not they like the fish, you're gonna have to appease those individuals. So as a result of that, you're gonna have to be very careful as to how you package your produce tilapia on your little space, right? You have to be thinking about the line. You have to think about the line, and this line represents expense. Beyond the line represents revenue. If you do not move ahead of the line, what you're going to find is that the entire backyard tilapia fish farm setup is going to die, because you're going to struggle to pay your bills. You're going to struggle to ensure that the quality of care that is needed for the fish on the fish farm in the setup is there. A point to note, guys, is that when you talk about commercial, right? Commercial fish farmer, they are strategic as far as fish production is concerned, right? Commercial tilapia fish farmers, they are purposeful. They would normally commercial tilapia fish farmer will spend millions of dollars to ensure that the quality fish feed is there, and so as to enhance their fish growth, right? Backyard tilapia fish farmers, they try to utilize DIY tilapia fish feed, such as azula and you know, different compartment of different herbs and things, so as to feed their fish, right? Duckweed and different type of feed. I've done several pieces on these, right? And if you are thinking about going into you know, that the business of tilapia fish farming, you have to think about not only yourself, but you have to think about the whole idea as to the quality of fish that you're going to be selling to others, right? And most, if not all the time, when alternative fish feed is used, in a sense that you use duckweed and azula and all these things, the fish does not look the same as with the feed that you purchase. And you might be saying that, but you're trying to stay away from the processed food. You must understand that this is a business. This is not a game. This is not a health show. This is a business. And if you are in it for business, you have to think like a business individual. So you spend your money to get the feed, so as to get the production up, so as to get past this line, so as to ensure that you continuously not only pass the line, but continue to surpass the line each time you harvest, each time you produce, right? A commercial tilapia fish farmer, right, they invest heavily in improvement of their stock quality. So some commercial tilapia fish farmers, they will import seed stock after a certain time period. For example, the quality feed and all that, they will check online or, you know, with their sources to see which feed promotes growth more, and, you know, which more healthy and all that. A point to note as we talk about commercial and backyard, right, guys, is that the commercial fish farmer, right, doesn't focus its attention on the amount of fish that exists within a space. Rather, it focuses its attention on the pound of fish that exists within the space. So you can have 10,000 fish within a 4-acre pond, right? However, that 10,000 fish might calculate to roughly about 30,000, or should I say, an average of 30,000, 35,000 in kilogram, right, that suggests that each fish is an average of about 3.5 kilograms, which is a large fish, right? And this is what they want. So you're gonna have some, some invariable amount, but this is what they want. So they don't take out a fish to measure to see if the fish is ready. They go by time. And so everything is calculated based on time. After 28 days, the fish leaves the nursery. Whether it is small or large or extra large, it leaves the nursery. All right? And then apart from the nursery, it goes to the grow out. It depends on the quantity of fish that exists within the nursery. The fish might be either split in two to place in two different grow outs, or all of it might go into a grow out, and then later on, probably halfway through, probably 3 months, 4 months, they might drain that pond, take out all the fish and move it to a different pond which is much larger, because the larger pond was occupied by fish that was supposed to be harvested during that time period. So there's an overlap at times as far as production and harvesting of tilapia fish, right? The backyard tilapia fish farmer now, sometimes the backyard tilapia fish farmer might have 5,000 tilapia within his or her pond, right? And the 5,000 tilapia might measure probably about 25 or 27 what do you call it, when you weight, you might end up have an average of 2.7 kilograms. You find that the weight is different. And the weight is different because of the stocking ratio. And I spoke about that already, right? The stocking ratio and the quality of feed and care and how the system is set up so as to ensure that not only, you see, not only the quantity is checked, but also the budget is actually met. I meant for this video to be a video, not a podcast, but it's end up in the podcast because I'm way past the video threshold in which I set for myself, right? So this more than likely would be a podcast. All right, what you must understand is that small tilapia fish farmers, they tend to one, overstock the space with fish, and two, they tend to produce fish for the market. And when the fish is produced for the market, harvest and all that and sold, it's as if they are starting over. It's a different scenario from the large commercial tilapia fish farm, and you must try to mimic the large tilapia commercial fish farm, right? Have at least, and I started out with 3 tubs, right? And I said that eventually we end up with probably 2 additional tubs that would make it about 5, right? Okay, so let's say that you have your backyard tilapia setup, right, guys? And you have your backyard tilapia setup, and your backyard tilapia setup, is set up in such a way that as whenever you do harvest fish, you're gonna have to wait until that's the backyard. You're gonna wait until probably about the next 8 months again before you will have fish for harvesting. Yes, you're a backyard tilapia fish farmer, and you are setting up yourself so as to ensure that you have some amount of fish feed, fish, right? Fish food, well, food fish, right? But going forward, you should try to have batches of fish for sale. And this is the unique thing about commercial fish farmer. A commercial fish farmer will have his laborers or her laborers go into the pond every single day and harvest the babies that are being released by the female every single day. For example, down the mountain, his workers go in the pond 3 times per day. So you have workers, their main task is just to hold the net and to get all those fries that are being released from the female's mouth each day, 3 times per day. They go in the water, right? They put their life at risk because sometimes crocodile is in the water, but they put their lives at risk, and this is their job, right? So they do this every day. So each day of fry collection represent a day of future sales. So all the 20 nursery tubs with the fries in it represent a day's sale. So in retrospect, those 74 ponds that exist under the mountain space represents 74 days in which the ponds, well, 74 days, right? And the ponds can be harvested going around. So by the time you harvest 1 pond, 2 pond, 3 pond, right, you replenish it with the fish from nursery 1, 2, and 3, place it back there, and that 1 pond, 2 pond, 3 pond is actually sold to a fish processing company, wholesale, and persons coming by to purchase retail. So by the time you reach back to number 1, all those ponds that you have taken from have been replenished by fries coming from the nursery, adding back to that space, and you find that the commercial fish farmer continuously have fish. I'm saying this to say that backyard tilapia fish farmers, they need to, well, we need to, right, have a system where in which your setup is never out of fish, and the only way to do that is to have a setup with several broodstock, several grow out, several tubs within the nursery, and a mechanism to manage the fish stock whenever light goes away. Yeah, that's a primary problem in Jamaica. Well, I think I've said enough, guys, for today. I never meant to go on so long. You know, this thing have been burning in me for a very long time regarding you know, how backyard tilapia fish farmers just see themselves as backyard, and the potential for growth and quality and quantity in harvesting is not really there. They just want to know that they are doing something and they're able to sell, and after they sell, they just sit down and wait again for a long period of time so as to ensure that they have fish stock. While a commercial fish farmer, yeah, you can't compete against them, but at least you can mirror them as to, you know, what they are doing. You can try on a smaller scale to do it. That's why they call it small business. All right, so thank you for watching, guys. Really subscribe to my channel, Fish Keeping Jamaican Adventure. I do ornamental fish keeping, fish care, breeding, keeping, and trading. I'm from Jamaica, and I am interested in your thoughts and your comments. Peace out, subscribe, and please watch the other video that's coming up next. It intends to be interesting, and I know that you will like it. Peace out, guys. Catch you next time. Bye bye.